Did you live else in other places in the world after that?
No, my parents did, but not I. My
Oh,
parents lived in Indonesia before coming to Iran. And then, of all places, they also lived in Iraq after leaving Iran.
oh, that's interesting.
I stayed in Poland after graduating. I was lucky enough to graduate from Iran Zamin in 1978, the last normal full school
Yes,
year to graduate. And
yes.
I came back to Poland and I started studying at the Warsaw University. I studied journalism and political science.
Fantastic. Did you do a lot of reporting after that?
Yes, quite a bit. I worked for Time Magazine, the Eastern Europe bureau based here in Warsaw,
Wow.
as a
You have a
researcher and interpreter and reporter.
fantastic. You have a real telegenic presence, I may add.
Thank
You
you.
know, like the camera grabs you.
I
So,
never worked for a visual news organization.
well, you could have. I
uh,
can imagine that when the Soviet system broke up, your skill set was very in demand. You know what I mean?
yes.
Because you had traveled and you spoke English. And what was that like when all that was happening?
Oh, it was very, very exciting. And
Yeah.
I was, let's, it was, for me personally, uh, having had the exposure to international community, to the Western teaching systems, but at the same time also to living in not a fully Western country, but in a Middle Eastern country or
Mm-hmm.
with a very rich history and rich heritage and very amicable, very friendly people. It gave me sort of a unique uh, set of values, set of skills, competences in a way,
Mm-hmm.
which were very much in demand after communism fell and Poland and Eastern Europe opened up to the world. And I was able to get a very, very good job as as a researcher and interpreter at at that time the world's leading media that Time magazine was,
Mm-hmm.
and that was in itself a big, I think, challenge for me to work for them. But it was also a great experience insofar that on the one hand I was learning from the best in journalism and in communication, but on the other hand it also gave me access to really interesting people here in Poland. I knew, of course, the government because of, let's say, the contacts that I had to have to get information, but also the whole opposition, which in 1989 became the government.
Yes.
So it was very exciting. It was a great time. And then that was in the 80s after I graduated. And then after the fall of communism, I must admit that the interest of the Western media in Poland and in Europe dwindled because, okay, that was done. I mean, there was nothing so interesting or as interesting as it used to be in the
Mm-hmm.
80s anymore. And then I started working in business.
Fantastic.
And it was also a totally new experience, and also starting something very new. I got a job in the second public relations company that was founded in Poland, the second ever
That's
in
that's pretty
19
excellent.
yeah, in 1991. And then I started working through this agency for various multinational companies doing communications in principle, it was PR, public affairs, and communication. So it was also very, very exciting because it was the change of the economic system from communism to capitalism.
Mm-hmm. That's very exciting.
Very exciting, yeah.
It sounds like you were one of their creative people that helped that transition, you know?
Oh, thank you. Maybe that is too much to say, but it was, it gave a big purpose to life. You know? I've never dreamt that the communism would crumble and the system would change in my lifetime.
Yes.
But now, in hindsight, I think yes, that it was a miracle.
Absolutely, I would use that word, miracle.